Yo, welcome back. Today we're gonna have a look at a future type loop in style of his most recent album. I've seen lots of future tutorials lately where they were going through like hard, dark ambient melodies. So today we are gonna have a more vintage future type loop. So as you could hear, this loop is a bit more complex. It has like many different parts, but we will go through all of them in a minute. I started this melody with this guitar from Contact. This is what the pattern sounds like. It's a pretty basic pattern. As you can see, it's just like 2 chords. And on the mixer track, there's just some EQing, some RC20, and a little bit of halftime. We're gonna look at that in a minute. And again, an EQ that cuts out the lows. So as you can see, I have the halftime at 15%, but there are also parts in the loop where I put that up to 100%. This is what the pattern sounds like with 100% halftime. But I'm gonna talk more about this when we get into the arrangement part. So after that, I used the same guitar again and made this little top melody. We have pretty much the same effects as on the first guitar here. The third layer is this choir from Contact. There's nothing more than a bit of basic EQing here, and if we listen to this in context of the other 2 layers, then it really fits in perfectly. The fourth layer is a solo cello from Contact. This is what it sounds like on its own. So on the mixer track, I have RC20 and some EQing, which cuts out the lower frequencies, which are like the frequencies where the cello is most present. So I can show you how this sounds like without the EQ. And now with the EQ. So we basically have, the cello sounds like less full, but I think in the context of this loop, this sounds like very nice and very vintage. So I can show you now how the loop sounds at this point. At this point I wanted to add like a piano, and I came up with this pattern. We have like a bass melody, then we have some notes here in the mid frequencies, and we have a top melody. This is what the piano sounds like on its own. So very, very nice like vintage melody, and we have basically no effects. I just turned up the lower frequencies a tiny bit. At this point I started with some basic arrangement. As you can see, It's nothing special, only here for the intro part I turned the halftime of the guitar to 100%, and then I take instruments out and put them back in. But at this point I felt like I wanted some kind of transition here after the chorus, so I used this flute phrase. I thought this part sounded the most interesting. So I stretched the phrase and cut out that part. This is what the flute sounds like now. I've put some RC20, some Valhalla vintage verb, and 2 EQs on that, and this is what the whole loop sounds like at that part. At this point I was pretty happy with the loop. I just had the idea to like add a violin to the first part of the loop, to the intro, and this is the melody that I came up with for this violin. So it's a very catchy melody, and on the mixer track I have just some RC20 and 2 EQs. And this is how it sounds like in the intro. That's the whole loop. After I exported it out, I turned it down 1 semitone. This is what it sounds like now. And that's it from this video. Let me know which producers I should do in my upcoming tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one.